Hello everyone, this is Suneve, and I'm coming to you with You'll Learn to Love Me, a Yandere Masky X reader by FluffyWubs. We're going to be starting off with chapter 52. Well, this is my breakfast. A cold, pretty stale, and small pizza to go, along with a bottle of liquor. This motel doesn't even offer decent food besides the vending machines in the lobby. I crumble up the small paper bakery bag the pizza came in and chuck it to the trash can in the middle of the room, only for it to hit the edge of the trash can and land on the ground. I groaned to myself, flopping onto my bed. After a night of continuously waking up hour after hour, I felt drained. It didn't help that Marcus's friends were practically screaming at each other half through the night. I stretched my arms above my head while releasing a yawn. I should really get move on. I can't stay here for too long. I don't know where I'll go or what my destination is. All I need to do is get far away from my home as much as possible. I'll probably find a cab somewhere. I stand up on the edge of the bed and take a moment to stretch out my legs. What a great way to start off the day. In a dirty old motel filled with loads of shady people or prostitutes. Well, time to hit the road. With a quarter-filled bottle of alcohol in my hand, I snatch the room's keys off the desk against the wall and make my way out. Okay, so current plan is to check out, grab a cab, tell them to drop me off at whatever place, and make my way over to the door only to pause in front of it before I opened it. I looked down to the big glass bottle in my hand and pursed my lips. Where are my manners? I can't just go walking out around with an almost empty bottle of liquor in my hand in broad daylight. I look like a lost drunk roaming the streets. Then again, I don't want to throw the bottle away with some of the precious liquid still inside. Oh well, down the hatch it goes. I pop off the cap and wrap my lips around the bottle, tipping the bottle until all the substance inside was gone. I let out a satisfied sigh after gulping it down and wiping my wet lips with my sleeve before dropping the bottle into the trash bin. Off I go. Opening the door to the hall, I step out of my room only to be greeted with eerie silence. Silence that you'd never hear in an old, broken-down motel. There's always some sort of yelling, crashes, or any type of loud noise, but today in particular, nothing. I assume it's still early in the morning. I probably woke up sooner than I expected. I walk down the hall, making my way to the lobby of the motel. Nobody's there. Well, it wasn't completely empty, and one of the chairs in the lounge, which isn't exactly a lounge, it's more like a small spot in the middle of the motel for people to relax, sat someone I barely recognized until I stared for a prolonged time. Hey, Ryan. The voice of the person sitting in the chair startled me out of my thoughts. Of course, the guy I met yesterday. What's his name? Marcus? Yeah, Marcus. I put a smile upon my face. Hey, good to see you again. I smile as I walk over to him. He seems to be holding a small packet of M&Ms in his hands, which he most likely got from the almost broken down vending machine. I take a seat across from him before taking another quick look around the reception. Yeah, no one's here, oddly enough, Marcus commented upon seeing a confused expression plastered on my face. No one's here? I repeated, turning my head back to look at him. Where'd the staff go? Beats me. Marcus shrugged his shoulders, lifting the packet up to his mouth to down a couple of M&Ms. Want some? He offered. Offer me the small package. I smiled, denying his offer by shaking my head. No thanks. I twirled the key between my thumb and my index finger as I continued to look around. It's so quiet, like everyone completely abandoned the building. I mean, I guess I'll wait 10 more minutes, and if no one shows up, then I'll just be on my way out. In the meanwhile, I can create a small talk with Marcus to keep me entertained. So, how are your friends doing? I questioned. Marcus swallows the M&Ms he had left in his mouth before glancing out the doors of the motel. They're still a bit agitated and decided to leave. My guess is they went to cool off, he replies. Unsure on how to reply to that, I let out a simple "oh." Marcus hums in agreement before crumpling the empty M&Ms packet. Anyway, not to be rude or anything like that, but why are you here? Marcus slightly leans forward in his chair as if he extremely is interested in my answer. Taken aback by this sudden question, I simply stare at him for a few seconds. What do you mean? I'm here for the same reason as anybody else. Have a place to stay. I respond nonchalantly. Marcus chortles before resting his back against the chair again. In an old, rotten motel. Right, you're not a hooker, or at least don't look like one. You don't seem shady in any way. There has to be a reason as to why you're staying here. Marcus fiddles with the plastic wrapper in his hands as he curiously looks up at me. The fact that he sounds so confident, too, it made me feel as if he already knew my intentions. You're running away from home, or what? Marcus questions. Isn't that a bit personal? I retort sharply, crossing my arms over my chest. Marcus grins. Fair point, but I mean, if that's the case, I wouldn't mind helping out, he states. Helping out, huh? I think. I'm actually trying to hop from one place to another and need a ride, I admit softly, twirling the key in my hands. You hear Marcus let out a short chortle. Well, why didn't you say so? I have nothing better to do. I could help you out, if you'd like. Marcus offers with a kind smile. He seems trustworthy enough. Yeah, I'd appreciate that. I'm uncomfortable. Hoodie squirms in his bed, trying to lift himself into a sitting position. This only results in having a wave of pain hit him in the chest, causing him to painfully groan before plopping back down. He picked up the fresh bandages and gauze wrapped around his upper torso. Boo-hoo, princess. Teaches you not to put your nose into other people's business. The eyeless navy blue masked male grumbles as he collects all his bloody utensils he had left on the floor. Hoodie scoffs. Sunder's orders. I'm supposed to keep an eye on Masky. Besides, if I don't get him back soon, he'll probably turn all soft like fucking Lou. The name ran bitterly off of Hoodie's tongue in a sneer. Jack snorts. He'd be rolling his eyes at this point if he could. Sunder doesn't give two shits. He's busy in his world and we're busy in ours, pronto. Jack stuffed his tools in his pockets before taking off his bloody gloves, revealing the gray tint on his skin. Hoodie clicks his tongue, folding his hands over his chest while staring up at the ceiling. He won't be able to move around as much. Maybe he won't be able to move at all for the next couple of weeks or days. Toby has to go solo at this point. That is, unless... This is so fucking lame. The door suddenly opens, allowing Toby to stomp inside in frustration. His goggles and mouthguard were gone, showing off his clearly irritated expression. His cheeks were lightly tinted red as he stomped to his own bed and plopped down on it. Hoodie tisked, "What are you complaining about?" He turned around, slightly to glare at the younger male underneath the mask. "You don't feel shit," Hoodie spat. Toby scoffed. "Yeah, but not feeling shit doesn't mean nothing's wrong with my body," he retorts sharply. Smiley said I can't strain my body for a while, Toby utters, stretching out his body along his mattress. Shit, Hoodie cursed. Well, no matter. He has backup, or at least he hopes so. Found anything yet? You know, the internet isn't as fast when you're moving on a fucking motorcycle. Lou scoffs at Masky's snappy attitude before coming to a stop at a stoplight. They have no idea where they are, nor where they were going. Masky had to constantly keep track of the news in case anything nearby happened or something related to YN appeared. And so far, nothing at all. Masky let out a frustrated sigh, returning his digitized map to figure out where he was. Each neighborhood he got in, the news would refresh with news articles. You know, we could both get arrested now that I think about it, Lou suddenly stated as he kept his eyes locked at the red light of the traffic lights. Masky shortly looks up from his phone and snorts. Oh yeah? For what? He questions. I mean, they were both murderers. You mean for killing the nurse? Masky grinned. He saw Lou's shoulders tense as his grip on the handles of the motorcycle got tighter. Ah, how Masky loved being an ass towards traumatized people. Still, Lou pretended to not have heard Masky's statement and allowed his body to relax with a sigh. We're not wearing helmets. If a cop comes by, Lou was cut off by Masky. We could speed off and get away from them. Masky finishes it in an as a matter-of-fact tone, and Lou huffs. Easier said than done, he utters out as one of the lights turned green. He revved up the motorcycle before speeding down the street, and Masky chuckles, returning his attention back to the phone. His eyes followed the little tracker on the map that showed his location and where he was headed. Apparently he was heading into that part of the neighborhood. The part with rotten criminals and overall shady people. Even in broad daylight, like at that moment, crimes would happen. He's been here for multiple reasons, so this place wasn't all too unfamiliar. Masky's head was back into the news page and refreshed the page multiple times. Still the same news. The page would occasionally stop loading due to the slow internet, but it still managed to go through after a minute or two. Masky let out a grunt, pinching the bridge of his nose. He was getting frustrated with himself and frustrated with YN. Why couldn't she behave like a good girl and stop running away? He's only keeping her away from danger, yet she still manages to keep getting herself into more and more trouble. Masky eyes the multiple dirty and old houses he passed by with increasing speed. The rush of the wind almost made his eyes dry if he didn't rub them from time to time. Nothing out of the ordinary. He saw gangs in a few alleys and all that, but no girl that looked anywhere near YN. His eyes returned back to his iPhone, only to notice a new article had popped up. The description beneath the actual news title caught his attention. A 27-year-old male got into an almost fatal car crash when his female passenger, a young adult, struck his leg with a sharp switchblade. Stop. Lou's hands flew to the brakes on those handles and pulled them back in a quick motion, making the rubber tires screech along the avenue. He almost lost balance if it wasn't for him swaying from side to side with his vehicle until it fully stopped. His heart was beating in a panic as he glanced over his shoulder, seeing Masky completely unfazed and looking down at his phone. What? You can't suddenly yell at me to stop in the middle of the street. Lou barks as Masky hops off the motorcycle. Masky simply ignores Lou's complaining as he taps on the actual news article and reads the entire page. His eyes skim over the words, taking it all in word by word. Ryan Gray, the 27-year-old male who got into a horrid car crash after his lady friend allegedly pierced a knife through his upper thigh without a reason. She fled from the scene before authorities arrived. Police are still looking into this incident and are trying their best to track down the female. Gray left the police with a detailed description of his friend. Underneath all that text was a very accurate description that represented YN. Hell, they even included her first name in there. Police assumed the female to be the young adult who had gone missing before YN Ellen, yet it's still unknown if she is the culprit. Holy shit, Masky breathed out. Lou furrowed his brows, kicking the little support stand from his motorcycle to allow it to be upright on his own before he got off the vehicle, walking over to Masky. What is so important that we suddenly had to stop? Lou huffed, still visibly agitated at the fact that he put his life in danger just because his friend shouted at him. Masky swallowed, taking a moment to let everything sink in. The police are after her. Masky looked up from his phone. Shit, I never knew she had the guts to physically hurt someone. Masky forced out a short laugh, brushing his hair back with his free hand. She what? Lou snatched the phone from Masky's gloved hand, skimming over the text that showed on the screen. His eyes got progressively wider the further he read the article before he handed the phone back to Masky. That means she was here, Lou states, looking at his surroundings. Oh, wait, how do you know that? Masky furrowed his brows. They put the street name in there, and that street is only a few miles away. We'll get there in 5 minutes, too, if we speed it up. Let's go. Lou admits. Hopping back onto the motorcycle, Masky nods in agreement before taking a seat behind Lou, before patting his back as a signal to start driving. Lou kicks off the support stand for the motorcycle before speeding down the street. I slammed the car door shut with a smile before looking through the small car window. Thanks again, Marcus. I owe you one. I thank the older male. He chuckles. Hey, don't worry about it. Take care, alright? Marcus smiles before nodding. I will. Thanks again. And with my final sentence of gratitude, Marcus backs up from the parking lot and drives off into the street. I let out a relieved sigh, looking up at the big mall in front of me. To think that I managed to get here without spending a dime, thanks to Marcus's kind soul, I could get here for free. Now I should keep my mind on my primary tasks. Get a new phone with the stack of money I have, a backpack, food, and maybe some other necessary things I need. And once I get everything in the bag, maybe continue on foot or call a cab. I haven't decided yet. Oh well, I decide once I'm done with my shopping spree. That is the end of that chapter. The chapter after that one is chapter 53. I don't know how you guys feel about that, and I do apologize for the stuttering. I'm having a bit of a day. But other than that, you guys have a lovely day. Bye-bye.